And good morning. We are on week one, day three now, right, Yasmine, of
That's
our Get Biz Lean. And what we're doing is we've got five generations of what we call E3 coaches. That's expert, epic entrepreneur coaches. And I've got one of the best with me today who's co leading with me this week. And we're actually going to be co leading on the physical well being week as well, which I believe is week four. So the bottom line is we're taking segments that really impact your business. And the number one thing that impacts your business is your mind shift. We say you got to take that mindset, which boom, sort of gets stuck sometimes. And you've got to be open to shifting that. I know that we do that every day. I'm going to share a real, funny aha from yesterday. Is we were doing the training, and we're doing it via the Hangout platform, and all of a sudden, I was moving back from a PowerPoint and accidentally hit the end button, which just ended the broadcast. So if you were on that and you wondered what happened, that's what happened. And Yasmine and I talked about, do we need to go back and redo that? And we went, no, because see, part of the Get Biz Lean is be specific, be focused, be real. That's about as real as you can get. And it's really funny because I'm kind of known as the Google Hangout maven. I've done probably 1,000 hangouts over the past few years and never accidentally ended one. I've done it on purpose, but you know what? Here's the point of this. When you're doing live, anything can happen, and anything can happen with technology. And what's important is how we respond to it, not how we react to it. So, Yasmin, you've got, I mean, let's just face it, you've got things going on with a sick child, and we're pulling here and we're pulling there. But I think when people really see, well, that's real, and if they have children, they understand. That's how it is. So, Yasmine, welcome. You're right here, and you're an amazing coach and friend and colleague. And that's one of the reasons I handpicked all of you, I like to say, because I wanted
yeah.
the best coaches for people to come in and listen to and learn from and be mentored by. Because, as we said yesterday, Tony Robbins says that it's a real key component of success, because mentors and coaches help you really analyze and look at your choices. So you take it away, share a little bit about your experience and why you're here and why this is important to you to be involved in the Get Biz Lean 30-day, what we call Epic Coaching Challenge.
Well, first of all, it's such an honor to be a part of the Epic Entrepreneur Coaches. I know you know many, many very talented people, very talented coaches. So I'm so grateful that we're collaborating, because I adore you as a person. I respect you as a professional. You are just an incredible trainer. And the people you've chosen are really extraordinary in their areas of expertise. So I'm very honored to be a part of this. So thank you very, very, very much. I think perhaps one of the reasons why I would like to think that you chose me is I like being real. I like being authentic. I like being sincere. I like being empathetic. I don't mind, showing the warts, as it's called, really peeling back the curtain and really share what's going on for me. But the reason why I'm able to do that is because I've been about 15 years in the coaching and personal and professional development arena. I started it back in 98, just doing classes on my own and workshops while I was at corporate America. And I found that the more I did evening workshops and really worked on my mind shift, having a mind shift and bettering myself and having mentors, it really just made such a difference in the way I operated at work, as well as in my personal life. I was in marketing and sales and training, and I was one of their top trainers getting great results. And I tell you, it's because I had coaching. And so after about 5 years of that, I realized that where my passion really lied was in coaching and empowering people, moving them through their blocks, having them achieve their goals. Because I know for 5 years I had people who were part of my village, part of my team, if you will, to help me and really have the courage to leave a long career at that time. It was like almost 13 years at one of the top wireless companies. And I loved that company. And I just realized where my passion was. I also saw for myself that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because my fiance at the time was traveling. And I wanted to have that flexibility to be able to be there if he was traveling, and if I had a family, I wanted to be able to work from home, have my own business. So I then left after the 5 years of training and 12 years of almost 13 at corporate to really recognize I'm going to start my own business. And I can't tell you how valuable it was to have entrepreneurial training, coach training, because I actually did a year-long rigorous coach training program. It's called Accomplishment Coaching. And accomplishment coaching is a very, very go through the eye of the needle kind of experience. We went through the coaching. We were in the hot seats. We were coached at every area of our life, so that way we could be with people, really be with people, and meet them where they are, and coach them through whatever they're needing to be coached through. So that's my coaching experience, and ever since then, just been taking every class under the sun to learn to be an effective entrepreneur. Whether it's personality profiling, sales, marketing, you name it, just to be really, really effective. But my passion always comes down to communication, and coaching really allows for, communication to be available. The personality profiling, epic, epic cards, and the epic personality, really values driven type of training that you're providing also opens it up for better communication, depending on, the person's personality and what they value. So those are the kinds of things that I've spent doing for the last 15 years. And I'm excited to be able to impart, I guess, this experience and wisdom to our viewers, our audience, our participants, along with being a student too, because I'm always wearing both hats. I'm learning from you, Dotti, I'm learning from you. I'm learning from all the others, that are the phenomenal women who are cohorts that you've hand chosen. So I'll be listening to the recordings, if not try to be on live as well. So long story short, I have now a child, and I have the luxury of being able to work from home, coach people, make a difference on the planet. And I always say my best client is my little 3-year-old daughter. That's who I really want to, show up for. And I tell you, some days it's not easy.
That's your toughest one so far.
What's that?
I said that's your toughest one so far, because we're kind of more in control of the other. It seems that kids make us really be present, is all I can say.
Really is, yeah. And we don't have the luxury to be in survival mode or stay in our limiting beliefs for many reasons. One is we want to be our best selves for our children, and obviously we're human, so they're going to see those sides of us that we probably rather not. It's like children like having company all the time. So after a while, you're going to see all of it, and it's like dating too. So anyway, it's so funny because like today, all week she's been sick, and I've been double dutying, and my husband's traveling. So I know many of you who are parents, it's never a convenient time to have a sick child. So you just do the best you can. And I swear to God, it absolutely makes a difference to have the village. Like there were times where I couldn't get on, on our hangout, but I knew I had my village, and it was like everyone was chipping in and taking care of each other. Someone else had an emergency, and that's what's happened. So that's what I really also love about what you've created. It's not just me, myself, and I. This is a collective, and boy, is it powerful, because the collective of all of us is so much more powerful.
Well, Yasmine, one of the things we're working on doing with this group, and that is just sort of my intention every day, is it's about connecting and engaging and empowering and innovating and leveraging our unique collective talents to form epic synergistic partnerships globally. And that's what we're doing all over the world. Although the 5 of us currently reside in the United States, we are here to work with anybody, anywhere, and to give you that opportunity, to be coached, to be mentored, to get some feedback and insights, maybe when you can't afford that one-on-one coaching. Because we are 5 generations. I represent the 60s generation, and Yasmine represents the 40s. So we've got the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. So as you can imagine, we have a great diverse group of people with families, with where we are in our careers, Yasmine had already, so to speak, done it all. She could have retired, but you know, she's in her 40s. She didn't want to. She wanted to start a family a little bit later. And so, you know, as we start up today, I just want to bring up yesterday was about beliefs and blind spots, okay? And today is about chaos or results. But what I'd like to give is a distinction. That's one of my favorite things to do, as you know, Yasmine. So I'm going to set the tone for you to move forward with this. And that is, it's not chaos or results. It's chaos and results. Because you really, I've never seen one single person get results without going through some chaos. It's just a part of life. And as we showed yesterday in a presentation on a PowerPoint, is that you have, it's like a S. At the bottom is stable, and that's stuck. At the top is metastable. And what that means really with chaos in the middle is you can't leapfrog it, no matter how much you want to. Oh, I don't want to go through that chaos. I just think I won't do that. You better think again, because it's going to happen. And the thing is, you don't know when it's going to happen. And that's where the opportunity to respond versus react comes in. And when you move through that chaos, rather than doing that worn path back and forth from chaos back to where it feels comfortable, back to where you're stuck again, going, why can't I break through? It's because you have to accept and embrace that the goal, the good stuff, the value is in that chaos. And moving through it is going to be when you shift your mind. And when you shift your mind, it's going to be in what we call the metastable, which is going to be your unique, your best self. And so exactly. I'm going to, before we turn it over to you, I'm going to share this one example. And that is how a lobster grows. You know, it's really interesting. A lobster grows and grows and grows until its shell is just too tight, okay? It has to do something because it can't grow anymore. So what it does is it sheds that shell and it goes and grows another one. And this is how the lobster continues to grow. And that's kind of how we have to do. When we bump up against that shell, if we go, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to grow, and we go back down to that stable, we're just going to look up and go, how did I get here again? How am I stuck again? Why am I not breaking through? And I was talking to a gentleman last night that I coach and mentor, and he was letting one, not a little bitty thing, but it was an upset with the company, and you know, he had called and he had done this and that. And I said to him, I said, are you really going to let that little thing keep you from your passion? I said, it's time for you to either realize that's not what you're passionate about and man up, own it, or to say, am I really letting something this small control me? And he has to look at that, you know, and he has to decide. So let's move on into this chaos and results, almost like, you know, the scales are balancing, tipping back and forth.
Yeah, and that's the experience. People are like, oh, thank God, you know, I'm out of this chaos or this rush or this valley, and then we like eke our way back up to the peak again, and we're like, okay, now we're comfortable. Okay, things have leveled off, and it feels, or experience in life is like this, right? But what if we were to really embrace and expect, like actually expect that there's going to be chaos? Yeah. What if we were to expect that there were going to be what we call in the world of coaching breakdowns? And I don't mean like break down your car or a mental breakdown. I just mean breakdown versus breakthrough. So just expect breakdown. So for example, just, you know, right before we're getting on our Google, you know, Hangout, little breakdowns here and there with our live, you know, things just, you know, come to expect it. And you can either, excuse me, my nose is tickling. We can either expect that it's going to take us out and we go into victim or our pity party, or, you know, and again, that's our mindset, right? Or we could be like, okay, here's where I am, just move forward. Here's what we're going to do. This is what we said we were going to do, and move forward based off of your commitment. Yeah. Because we have a lot of feelings about a lot of feelings, you know, and we certainly interpret a lot about things that happen in our life and events. But those interpretations, similar to, you know, interpreting art, are going to be different from what you interpret or from what I interpret. Like you've heard, a police officer after a car accident will get a report from different witnesses, and he'll probably get different, results or reports from all those different people because their interpretations are different. So consider that the events that happen are interpretations. It may be chaos, it may not be. It just is how you respond, as you were saying. So the way to, keep it from the experience like this, because these are going to happen. It's really being able to, as we said yesterday, in the blind spot and bring it to your awareness, is being aware that how you respond is your choice. It's totally a choice. So we can either respond from victim, meaning blame, 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 which is what, we talked about yesterday, especially in that really great video by Dr. Brown. Just so fun, so humorous, and so clear. And, how we play the blame game. And that absolutely can add to the chaos, because it really takes your power away when we stay stuck in victim. And I'm not saying that we're never going to blame. I'm not saying I never blame. I'm not saying I'm never in victim. Where I feel I have used the tools is I don't hang out there as long anymore in the pity party. Or in the transformation, or I reach out for help or support, I should say, to so that I don't stay stuck in there, for my 30-year mortgage, as I've said before. So it's really recognizing that your relationship to chaos, one, is a powerful thing. So is chaos bad or is it good? There is no good or bad. It's your relationship to it.
Yes.
So, and your interpretation of what's happening. So, for example, the gentleman that you were talking to yesterday, perhaps as he has more of an awareness about how he responds to things, I'll bet that thing that happened with the company isn't just about the company. It's something in the past that's unresolved, and that's his limiting belief. That's how he chooses to respond. But you gave him such a gift, Dotti, because now you're bringing it from the blind spot to the full awareness up front, so it's not here, it's front and center. And now he can start to consider and inquire and really now do something about it. And that's the thing about transformation as well. Once it goes from your blind spot to your awareness, it's not like you can play stupid anymore, but play dumb, because you're now aware of it. And that's the upside and downside, because now that you can do something about it, and it's a choice. Or if you don't know about it, it's really not you don't experience it as a choice. But once you're aware, you actually do have a choice.
You don't know. There's no way to choose if you don't know it.
Exactly. So we talked about yesterday, you don't know what you don't know. But now that you know what you didn't know, now you actually have a choice. And I like, you know what I mean? And I like to share with people that empowerment means you have choice.
Yes.
So imagine now it's in your awareness, and now you have a choice to respond, from blame or victim or woe's me, which we all do, right? We all do it. Or we're going to come from power or empowerment or responsibility. Response is in that word responsibility. So how we choose to respond. So again, choice equals empowerment. This is a very simple way for me. The more choice you have, the more empowered you feel. And the better choice you make that's in alignment with your values, even more empowerment. You feel trapped if you don't have choice.
Yeah, and Yasmine, let me just share with you talking about this gentleman, because he's such a powerful young man. He's only 26 years old.
Wow.
And oh my goodness, he has so much going for him. But, his life experiences are limited right now, not because he's limited, but because he hasn't lived long enough to have some more experiences. So as his mentor and coach, it's up to me to sort of, as we talked about yesterday, a blind spot is difficult to bring out by yourself. That's why it's called a blind spot. You're driving down the road and you're looking in the rear view and you're looking ahead, and you don't just do this. You don't see the car and you run into it. So we said it yesterday, 1% shift is all we're looking for at a time. See, watch this. I can see now that, it is so minor, it's almost startling. But so what happened with him, I could see the light bulb going off. And I didn't judge him, I didn't accuse him. I just said, what do you think about this little thing that seems to have you making a bigger decision? And so I didn't ask him to make a decision right then. I asked him to go see a particular video and watch that video. And then in 2 weeks, when we get back together, I asked him to look at if he shifted any in how he sees that or what he wants to do. Because I said, I'm afraid that if you go ahead and make this decision based off these tiny things, you may later, as you are working with people, because he will be working with people, you're going to be having them have little things stop them, and it's going to be going boing, boing, boing. Remember that time? Now,
Yeah.
It'll either be bombing him in the head going, I remember, let me share with you, I was in the same position you were in. I understand. And I was able to push through that chaos because I was creating more chaos in my mind than it was worth, you know? Or you'll have to tell that person, you know what, I lost an opportunity because of it. I can't believe I did looking back, but that was where I was at. And again, it's not a judgment. You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, you know, that's a great point. Again, going back to you're kind of mentoring him and coaching him so that he can work with other people, but he's on the other side of it now. But I guarantee you when it's, you know, he then moves forward and he's working with people, he then has experientially gone through the process himself and therefore can connect and relate and coach and mentor whoever that person might be, whoever he's working with, because he's been on the other side of that. So you made such a difference. Whether he recognized or not in the moment, we're really all a collective of all our mentors and coaches. In fact, you know, my room, this house would be filled with all my mentors and coaches because they could be books, they could be, you know, famous people. They could be people that I work with directly and indirectly. They could be, you know, people that we're inspired by. So all of those people are collectively those that are our mentors and coaches. And so that was just really phenomenal that you could, you know, give that gift to him because it is a part of his, you know, collective village, if you will, on his journey.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's just going to be real interesting as he looks back, even in 2 weeks. I think he's going to have a different set of eyes, you know, a different viewpoint. And this is, honestly, this is one little step he can take to move through chaos. You see, he's bumping up against something again where he feels somehow personally diminished out of something that's happened, I think. And it's really not personal. It's just a situation. And, you know, people who are achieving in that same group that he's thinking about leaving are making millions of dollars because they did what other people are unwilling to do. And that's always the successful people. You know, yesterday I made the statement that one of my quotes now is that the unsuccessful people, they deny or won't acknowledge or don't think they have blind spots. The successful people, they're going, hey, where is it? Where is it? I'm looking for it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, bring out that blind spot because they know they're only one blind spot away from hitting it big. I mean,
it's so true.
If you're a singer or something, you've been singing in every little bitty dive in the world, but you keep in your mind that you hope somebody will walk up in that little dive and reveal something to you that you couldn't see, and it ends up being the thing that pushes you through where you become that singer that is no longer singing in the dives. And then, you know, people say, oh, they're an overnight sensation. And, you know, and we know that it's so rare. It's not even good to talk about it because it's not reality for most people. And when we're talking about, you know, get specific, get focused, get real, we have to talk about what's real. You know, when you see on the internet or something, somebody saying, you know, make $1 million in 24 hours. And, you know, some of these things, it's insane. Did somebody somehow, some way? Yeah, probably. But that's not the norm, and it's not the regular path that people take. So one thing I want to share with people, Yasmine, as we're chatting about this, is to remind people about vaccine, okay? Yesterday our vax, like on Monday, we have our blabs, okay? And we call them Monday motivation. So we have blabs the first day of these weeks, all right? And then Tuesday through Friday, we are having these trainings. And so when you're on our 30-day is lean, that's kind of the process that you will have. And so what we asked you to vax for yesterday was I am free, because that's just a anchoring mindset. Now we're going to go over and cover what vax is again. And you've received an emails, a link that leads to that article on vax. But vax stands for visual, audio, kinesthetic, and sensing. And the visual is actually like looking. Let's pretend that this was my mirror, okay? And if this is my mirror, then I would just sit and I would say in there, I am free. 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 About 5 times. And then the next thing I would do is I would just rub my ears, because that's auditory. Mm-hmm. And, are you getting a little bit of feedback, or is that just me?
It just started a second ago.
Okay, I'm just hearing that just a little bit, and I just kind of wanted to check in. You know, obviously we can respond to it or react, and we're just trying to respond so that we get as clear an audio for you as possible. But on that auditory, you know, we're anchoring by saying, I am free, I am free, okay? And then the next one is kinesthetic. And, well, I'll just kind of do it in my chair today, but you can do things like move your legs and it's, I am free, I am free. I am free. I am free. You know, you're moving, in other words. And the last one is, and in sensing, it's just putting your arms over like this and saying, I am free. I am free. It's sort of just a connectedness to the energy, okay? And so you can either be looking at somebody like Yasmine or we're looking at each other, or you can be looking in your mirror. And so one of the things is our next one is declare for a short-term desire. Okay, that's the one for today. Yasmine, what would you say is a short-term desire for yourself?
I would like to shed weight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know how short term, but over like the next year, I'd like to shed weight, because since my baby and the holidays and, you know, lifing stuff and hormones, Lord knows what's, you know, all in the mix. But yeah.
So here's an idea. One of the vax you could say is, I easily release weight. I easily release weight. I easily release weight. Because oftentimes, you know, there becomes that component where, you know, we tell ourselves over and over again about various things. All of us do this. And this is where our opportunity to shift is, losing weight is hard. Losing relationship is hard, you know. And I've often told people, you know, listen. Like I had a lady one time, and my coaching point to her was we got together for lunch. She says, I hate men. Relationship is so hard. And I said, whoa. I said, listen to what you just said. That energy, do you really think that you're going to find a relationship with your ideal partner, which is what you really deeply want, by saying, I hate men and relationships are bad and they're so hard? And she was a coach, and she just went, oh my goodness. So I said, why don't you, between now and the next time we meet, just start claiming that relationship is easy, men are awesome, and I find just the right one that works with me. She started saying these things, and I'm telling you, within 2 to 3 months, she had her ideal life partner and is still with that person. So, you know, your vax then can be anything along those lines, because that short-term desire is going to get that going for the long term.
And I think that's really so awesome. And I know many people have their areas of opportunity for improvement, or areas they struggle in. And it's so true, because one of the things, even though we know what to do to lose weight, right? Diet and exercise. But what's under the undercurrent, right, is, like you said, it's so hard, or I don't have the discipline, or yada, yada, whatever. And I've got those, you know, there's lots of excuses, lots of reasons. And I'll say that why the vax is so powerful is because you're actually training your subconscious mind. And we can consciously say what we want, but unless you actually shift, going back to the mind shift, unless you actually shift at the subconscious level, it's going to be not only harder, but it's going to slow you down. If not, you know, you're going to be pushing uphill the whole way, which is why as coaches, we need to include the VAX, because the VAX is shifting at a subconscious level. And why, you know, we look like we're doing all these weird things. It's really very scientific. And I just wanted to circle back to that because people may not have ever heard of it or understand why you're doing those things, Dotti.
Yes.
Just a very, very, very baseline is that you're engaging both hemispheres of your brain. So when you're moving both sides of your brain and doing the earlobes, there's a lot of sensitivity around the earlobes, a lot of nerve endings around the earlobes, and your nervous system connected to your brain with the two, you know, hemispheres. We're actually going in and rewiring those by saying it out loud, yes, feeling it, right? So you got the auditory, the visual. Now, everything we interpret, and I really want the, you know, the viewers to really get this. Everything we interpret in what we call reality is all interpreted through our senses.
Yes.
Everything. So that would be your visual, there'd be your auditory, the hearing, the sense, you know, your senses, all your senses, the feeling, right? And I would even go so far if you want to, although it's not necessarily included in what we call the VAC, V-A-K, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. But to really bring it home, even, I'm going to give people the extra credit
yeah.
to actually even experience what it would taste like and what it would smell like, because now you're training your subconscious mind at all 5 senses like we do every single day, what we interpret our reality. This is how exclusively we interpret reality. Feel, see, hear, taste, and smell. This is our life. This is how we interpret. And it's all through, believe it or not, people may or may not understand this, but it's all energy. It's all vibration. We taste, we touch, we smell, we see, all through vibrational energy. So when you retrain your subconscious mind to be in alignment with a belief that better supports where you want to go, you're going to have a lot more velocity behind it, and you're going to have less resistance, because there's that lizard brain that's back here that's there to protect you, want to keep you safe, and not want you to get outside your comfort zone. But the VAC is actually now rewiring at a subconscious level, embracing both sides and engaging both sides of the hemisphere. So now on a visceral level, you are getting it at all sensory levels. And now your brain can go, aha, I get this. And so it will move more effortlessly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is a great reminder. I know that the good news is that our subconscious really runs us, and it's also the bad news. You know, it's often the case. And I give this example. You know, a little bit about my background. I coached women's basketball at the University of Kentucky, and then I tell people I was born to coach. I'm still coaching. I just ride a different vehicle now. Instead of coaching basketball players, I coach entrepreneurs, and also train and coach and speak in corporations. And actually developed the Discover Your Epic Code that you all have had the opportunity to, you know, engage with and go through and use that tool. But one of the things is, if a person is right-handed, Yasmine, and they began to learn a left-handed layup, they had to think in their mind consciously now, go off the right leg and up with the left arm. Mm-hmm. And until they could do that repetitively, until they could do it without thinking, they could never just in a game situation go down the court and be on that side of the goal and score left-handed layup, which meant they were only half as good as they could be, because if they couldn't do that, they would have to maneuver around and get on the right side of the goal in order to shoot that. And of course, how effective is that, especially when you're playing at the collegiate or pro level? So when we can begin to have those blind spots brought out into the light, so that we can then consciously make decisions, so that we can then create such a pattern that it becomes an unconscious, empowering act for ourselves, like you described. You put that together so well. And I want to just, you know, share on a personal level. I understand what you're saying about weight. I've just recently, you know, since September, lost about 28 pounds.
You look phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And, you know, I'm 62. When those hormones finally left, protein and things that we need really need to be ramped up. And so I didn't so much diet as I had a lifestyle shift. And I think it's really important to look at it that way, because I know what to do, you know. And one thing you said that's so important, there's a reason I want to share it, is when I decided, and this is how I work, I see the end result, okay? I knew where I was going. And the minute I did that, it was a done deal. I mean,
and that's also commitment. Like when, you know, you truly commit subconsciously, consciously, and the belief is there that you can do it.
Yes.
Like belief, like no kidding. Like I'm making this happen. Then there's nothing that's going to stop you. And so the universe, or whatever you want to call it, that's, you know, the audience's word that they endear, but I call it universe. The universe will actually support you and really come to, you'll just find how it will come to aid you in your commitment. And on the flip side, it will also test you in your commitment as well. So, you know, it's both. So, you know, there's that resolve. And I wanted to bring that up because we were talking about chaos and results. And a lot of that, you know, to tie that back in as well, as what is your commitment? Because what you're committed to is basically the results you have in your life and in your business. That's what you're committed to. Whether it's what you consciously are committed to or not, that is what you're committed to. So actually making a conscious and subconscious shift and being unconsciously, I want to tie this back into something else you said about the layup, which you're always so great, Dotti, about creating analogies that people can really understand and really get. That left-handed layup, I really get that. You were encouraging them to be unconsciously competent. You can be consciously competent as you practice. You're consciously practicing with that left-handed layup. But over time, with habit and commitment and doing it again and again and again, like shifting your belief again and again by doing the VAX and everything else, that will become an unconscious action. And now you're exactly, it's unconscious competency, which, you know, we can think of a million things in our life that we're unconsciously competent about: driving, brushing our teeth, you know, cooking, or, you know, whatever it is, right? We're unconsciously competent. But when we start new habits, we have to start going, you know, to a consciously competent, start practicing. And then there's also the consciously incompetent, meaning you're aware that you're not good at it. You're aware this is not in your comfort zone. So, you know, there's different places that you could be. And that all just relates back to tying it into the results that you want to have in your life, and how you choose to respond.
Absolutely. And so, you know, this is a good place to really wind it up. And I want to share with people that over the next few days of this first week, we're going to have some people come on and actually be coached. And, you know, several of us have already kind of put ourselves in the seat to be feedback, you know, like Jen did on our blab on Monday, one of our coaches that's in her 30s. And so really what we're looking at here in everything we do with our mind shift, we're looking at being solution-centric versus problem-focused. And Jennifer Santoro, Coach Jay, is going to be speaking on that in our bonus week, because her whole coaching model for entrepreneurship and was published and all, and her model is being used at Florida State University, is totally around that, you know, leaving the problem focusing behind and being the solution focused. So one of the things I want to say, Yasmine, is that I really honor that I hear what you want to do. And so I want you to know that I support you each step of the way. And now that you have spoken that out loud in front of people, that I know that is a shift. That's your 1% shift for today. You know what I'm saying? You spoke it. And as we begin to speak, what we do is we speak into reality our life.
Yeah.
Negatively or positively, we speak it into being. So you just heard Yasmine speak into being that 1% shift that she's making by doing that. She's no longer just satisfied that that's okay. You know, and that's where we get to. So congratulations on your 1% shift.
Well, thank you. No, I appreciate that. And I really get that, you know, I'm in this like everybody else to support each other and where they want to go. And, you know, and what you're doing and being a part of this process and what your vision to get Epic out there, you know, getting the Epic personality training out there, getting our Epic entrepreneurial training out there, all of that, it's all a part of it. And it's just such a joyful ride. And I'm sure we're going to have bumps along the way, but I'm just thrilled to have this opportunity to go through this together. And I really appreciate your support.
You're welcome, Yasmine. Likewise. And so let me ask you this, Yasmine, we wanted to kind of give them a challenge, you know, each day as we ended. And so in terms of chaos and results, what challenge would you like, coaching challenge, would you like to issue to our viewers? Now, we know that some people are coming live and some people are having to watch the recording. That's great because everybody has different schedules, you know. This is why we're doing this 30 days, get your biz lean with the bonus week, because there's 5 generations who are here to support you. And I'll guarantee you, between those 5 generations and that experience and that where everybody's at a different place in their life, something's going to connect with you. And if you want what we've got to offer you, we're here for you. So, Yasmine, what challenge would you issue for people for tomorrow?
Well, I would say that a lot of chaos repeats itself in people's life because of their blind spots, as we talked about yesterday, and a relationship, our relationship to what chaos looks like. So a lot of it can be broken down to what are the biggest complaints we have in our life. So I'd like people to write down the 5 biggest complaints they have in their life, and I bet you it's been a common theme for a long time. And write down, we're not dwelling in them, but that will actually start to reveal some blind spots. Like you said, the complaint, Dotti, about your friend who said, gosh, I don't like relationships. They're hard. That's a complaint.
Yes.
Right. So what we'll do is we're gonna ask people or invite people to write down 5 of their biggest complaints and see if it starts to illuminate for them. Like, wow, is this maybe part of one of my blind spots, like you shared, Dotti? And then actually start coming up with solutions instead of staying in the victim mode or in blame mode. Start looking at like, oh, wait, can this now go from my blind spot to now in full awareness? And if you have trouble figuring out what they are, ask 2 or 3 people. Hey, you know, I'm going through this process and I really want to have I really want to have like, you know, a shift in my life.
Yes.
You know, what do you think that, you know, something that would make a big difference for me if I like had a shift in an area? What do you see, you know, are some of the challenges I'm facing? So if you can't see it for yourself or write down those 5 complaints, ask 3 people, and that might give you some insight. And I remember going through this exercise, and it's not comfortable, but we tell you, you know, coaching isn't comfortable. It's not, but you know, we're inviting you to step outside your comfort zone so you can have that shift and put it out there. Now you've talked to 3 people. Now you've shared with them you're part of this process. Yes, it's a vulnerable place to be, but it's a place where you can have transformation, as I do, as Dotti does, as we all do. And it really takes courage to really go after discovering what those blind spots are. And so I'm just giving you access or a tool on one way you can go about finding those. So 5 complaints, write those down. And then of course down the road, especially as Jen, when she comes on, she can talk about the solution orientation and how you can bring those challenges from your life each week and have, you know, an impact from each of the different coaches and experts with those challenges that you're experiencing in your business or in your life.
Yeah, and this is what's so great. I mean, we've got Stephanie Dupree, who's going to be talking on finances next week. I mean, think about that, how huge that is. Each one of these components, we've got the mind shift first. Now, why do we do that? Because that's the foundation in so many ways of these other shifts that are going to happen in your finances. Cheryl Bassett with relationships. Yasmine and I will be back with physical well-being, and then Jennifer Santoro will be there with her model, her actual model of solution focus versus the problem focus. So before we leave here, one more thing, Yasmine, do you have a quote that's of particular greatness that you would like to share with people today?
Well, it's a simple one, and people hear it all the time, but it's just one of my all-time favorites. And I want to see that I say it right, but what do they say? Dance like no one's watching. How does that go? I love that quote. So dance like
nobody's listening.
Yes. Dance like nobody's watching. Just really be out there. Love like you've never been hurt. I just think I get chills just even as I'm saying it. Love like you've never been hurt. Dance like nobody's watching. And I just love that. That's one of my all-time favorites, just that always comes to mind because it's just so simple and so fantastic.
Yeah, that's great, Yasmine. And with that, I will end it with a quote from one of my guys who loves it so much. And so here's a shout out to you, Barry Tuck. And that is better done than perfect. So with that, Yasmine, I'm going to end it up, and we will look forward to seeing everybody on our, let's see, it's going to be our 4th day of the week, right? Wow, of week 1, it's going fast. Anyway, we will see you all tomorrow.